I had first heard of The Last Samurai a few years ago, thinking that this movie was going to have a Japanese man as the main character. But when I saw Tom Cruise was the main star, I was honestly just rather annoyed because the fact that he was the main character is very disrespectful, I will say. Personally, I don't like Tom Cruise very much, but I will say that he was okay in this movie. So, I had been following this writer for a number of years, and he had written an article on his website where he said that he hates this movie. The reason that he gave was essentially because this movie is not about a Japanese samurai, but rather about an American samurai. And I can understand his frustration with this movie. So, because he wrote that, I decided to not see this for a while. And I realized that I'm the idiot for letting someone else dictate what I'm going to do based off what I read from them, and I should decide for myself, and that's what I did. I watched this movie. I saw scenes here and there, but I finally watched this movie in its entirety. And truth be told, I really do like this movie, actually. I won't say that I like it because it has a good story, but rather it reminds me of everything that I want to become. I read the Book of Five Rings a number of years ago. That book inspired me to strive for excellence in all that I do. The book was written by a man who is considered to be Japan's greatest swordsman, Miyamoto Musashi. It truly is a great book that talks about what a warrior should strive for. The takeaway message that I got from the Book of Five Rings was, to paraphrase, a man should always strive for perfection in all that he does. And I think that one of my favorite scenes in this movie was when Cruise was narrating about the village that he was being kept at. He said something like, these people rise in the morning and dedicate themselves to perfecting whatever it is that they do that day. And that's something that I hope that I will be able to do in all the things that I like, such as writing movie reviews like this one. I want to become perfect in all the things that I choose to do. Now, for the people who don't like that this movie isn't about a Japanese samurai, I agree that a movie with the title like The Last Samurai leads us to believe that this movie would be about a Japanese samurai, not a white guy. And not to turn this into some social justice rant, but I really do think that it was really disrespectful that the titular character was a white guy in a movie that you would assume would be someone of Japanese descent. I mean, the story really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why would Katsumoto have any reason to keep Captain Algren around? I have no fucking clue. Why would the Emperor order the death of the samurai to boost his nation into the modern age and then retract his decision to buy arms from America? Because of guilt? I think the Emperor felt guilty when Katsumoto asked him to tell him to remove his sword, but he just sat there and said nothing. And if he really felt guilty, then I think he would have retracted his decisions a long time ago before Katsumoto got into the chamber and directly asked the Emperor to remove his blade. But I guess that wouldn't have made a good movie. Everything else about this movie is really good, though. I especially liked the cinematography of this movie. It looks gorgeous, and literally brought tears to my eyes. One scene I really enjoyed was when Algren was fighting against the samurai for the first time when they rode towards him through the mist. I also really liked a lot of the visuals where Tom Cruise was walking through the village, or when he was training with a sword while silhouetted against an orange sky. Although one thing that I think would have made this movie even better than it was if it had been directed by Zhang Yimou, and he had brought Christopher Doyle on with him as the cinematographer. I mean, the visuals of this movie were good, but they could have been 100 times better if those two had been working on this movie together. Because for those that don't know, those are the pair that worked on the movie Hero together, which is a Chinese movie. But The Last Samurai has a flawed story, but I think that it is a beautiful movie that I would be willing to watch again. The Last Samurai gets 4 stars out of 5.